This is Luke and Wolf, and you're listening to EMZT Radio with your hosts, the Sinister Sisters.
Sinister Sisters. Welcome to another Sinister Sisters. I'm Bane Hellborn with my sister,
Scorpio Girl.
And this is her idea. She wanted to talk about animals
in horror
films.
Yeah. Yes, because life is so scary, and I keep saying, stop making horror films to make real life more scary than it usually is. But here you go. You keep doing it. You keep freaking me out. But there are some horror films about animals that I like. Well, really two, but we'll talk about them.
Okay, what's interesting I just learned doing research was that these are called natural horror, or originally called creature features because they're critters in there.
Oh my gosh!
This subgenre of horror films features natural forces.
Oh.
But just for some reason, they are out on a killing spree.
They are lit and they are turn up in the horror club.
So it all started 1925 in a movie called The Lost World. Black and white film of...
Wait, you said 1925?
1925.
Oh, jeez.
So it was before sound.
Oh.
Because sound didn't come in until 1927.
Okay, all right.
So this was... Lost World was the original Jurassic Park.
Wow.
Technically.
I mean, honestly, I mean, we've all seen Lost World.
Yeah.
Or no
Jurassic Park, Lost World.
There we go.
But The Lost World, 1925, was the original Jurassic Park. With no sound.
With no sound.
Yeah. And then the successful ones started with Nature Running Amok, was The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, 1963, and Jaws, Steven Spielberg in 75. And then it seemed like in the 70s is where the whole nature horror blew up, because then you had things that were all the animals were going crazy.
Well, I mean, you also have to think about it too. During the 70s, there was this awakening by the human race of their own, like,
realizing that they're outnumbered by nature.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's that. They're coming out of the 60s where it was all free love. Everybody love, love, love Mother Earth. Save the whales. Save the... No, that was still part of the 70s, right? Save the whales.
Yeah.
Save the seals.
Yeah.
You know, let's clean up our act.
But they also were realizing that nature could overpower them at any point in time.
I mean, honestly, I remember doing a paper in college about nature versus humankind. And, you know, it was the focus of my essay or paper I wrote. How can an essay be 10 pages?
No,
anyways,
it's not essay.
Anyways, so I wrote, and my focal point was this statue that I was noticing no one was doing anything with. And how, you know, the birds took over it to shit on. The vines were taking it back, you know, almost like taking back that space by
nature.
You know,
by nature was taking it back.
Right. And then I started noticing other things such as, you know, cracks in sidewalks, unnatural cracks in sidewalks. You know, that's due to pressure of, you know,
the earth shifting,
tree vines moving, you know what I mean? And that was the focal point of my paper. But yeah, shit. I mean, you never know. You know, I mean, I always laugh at people who come across these videos where people come across like a bear cub or something, and they want to go and pet it kind of thing. You know, it's like,
once upon a time, we used to be one with nature, to where we were supposed to be ruling over it, but it was supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. But, you know, we kind of fucked things up.
Well, I remember reading a comic book back in the 90s, and I can't tell you the name of it, but I remember there was like a little excerpt in the story I was reading about how this cat was going to this alley where there was images of thousands of cats, and the leader up there was reminiscing of the time where they were the leaders and the humans were their slaves. So I always thought that was
all right. Cool. I read that one too.
Okay, but I can't tell you.
Yeah,
it's probably a Neil Gaiman
Yeah, maybe.
story. I'm sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's got to be. Anyway, so let's get into this. We're going to talk about some movies and what creature was the feature.
But then it's funny how the animal horror was called creature feature.
Well,
but then it was changed to the mutated sci-fi is creature feature or monsters creature feature.
Well, because I think the shift went from natural animals, insects, things like that, and went
to unnatural.
When sci-fi kind of like
which
hit
is
the scene,
unnatural though, yeah.
Which wasn't that like really what the 80s when you started seeing
the
more
80s
of
with the experimentation.
Monsters.
Well,
yeah.
no, it was also part of the 70s too. That one where that
Yeah, but
scientist
it
was
was
turning Dirk Benedict into a giant cobra.
Yeah, okay, that's what started this whole thing too, was us remembering this movie.
Is the name of it.
That's the name of it. That is literally the name of it. But my point, what was my point? Oh, yes. So when sci-fi really picked up its momentum.
Yeah.
And that's got to be the 80s.
Well, it was mid 70s. Almost late 70s. So,
Well,
yeah, because
close enough.
then sci-fi was also doing about Demon Seed, which was about the computers taking over.
Right.
So there you go.
Right.
So sci-fi, yeah. So let's see. This list I have, it lists the categories in alphabetical, starting with amphibians.
Well, I'm going to start
Arachnids.
with one of my favorite movies, and that is Lake Placid. Okay. Yeah, it's an all right movie, but I'm sorry. The only reason why it's my favorite is because Betty White flips off the sheriff
and says that she hopes that the alligator eats them all.
Yes, and then to come to find out that, she's one badass.
Yeah, she's feeding the alligator.
So this movie came out in 1999.
Yeah.
And it was written by David E. Kelly, which when I was doing research, it seems that David E. Kelly, whoever this entity is, did a lot of these type of movies. Mm-hmm. So I think this is his genre. Maybe for another episode we'll go on unnamed.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I've noticed that David E. Kelly did a couple of weird ones. But anyways, Lake Placid. So what it's about is when a mysterious creature violently kills a man in a Maine lake, the local game warden looks into the bizarre case. Well, it ends up to be an alligator or a crocodile. It's an alligator.
It's alligator,
right?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a crocodile-like creature.
Well, it was a giant fucking crocodile.
I know, but they're saying
it's
crocodile-like creature.
It's
but
not.
Anyways,
it was a giant fucking crocodile.
Okay, yeah. When we say giant, this thing must have been.
It was the size almost of the megalodon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
With the head.
See, and the thing is
head
that
was big enough it could eat like 10 people in a row.
And see, and the reason why I appreciate this movie is because this crocodile stuck to the water.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to worry about it getting on land. So, another reason why I appreciate this movie
but it was close to shore.
Yeah, but you know what? It still was in the water,
Yeah.
and that's where it stayed.
Okay.
So that's why I liked it. It was like, it knew its role.
And the other part was, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure everybody's seen Lake Placid, it had babies. So for some...
Why would you need to add that? You are such a spoil.
No, because it's trying to say this was a natural occurrence. That this crocodile grew to gigantic size, but it also has offspring, because there was also a part 2 to this.
Well, okay, so I didn't watch the part 2, but in the part 1, they really didn't have any backstory whatsoever.
No, about where this came from.
Was it a natural one?
Was
or
it
was
natural?
it experimented on?
Yeah, but
there was no backstory. It was just like, there's this crazy giant crocodile in this pond, and it's been killing people.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and part 2 had John Schneider in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it continued the story, but I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. So my next one, and only because the actor, I love this actor just because he's kooky.
Well, this was the remake of it.
Okay, well, Willard, the remake version with Crispin Glover.
Yes.
He may be a kook, but he really nails it as far as characters.
But technically, it's not quite technically it's not the remake because his father was the original Willard.
Shut the front door.
The portrait, the family portrait in that house in that movie was the original Willard.
Oh, that's right. Okay, it's
yeah.
all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
It's
So technically it's not a remake. It's supposed to be a sequel.
Okay, but anyways, I really like this movie because of the fact that, you know, this rat, Ben, good old Ben, this rat had like free will and a thought process and showed jealousy and showed you know, emotions and rejection
and such intelligence.
Such intelligence, but he was also able to enact revenge and retaliation.
Yeah, because he could understand what humans were saying and react in kind. So, but it's also due to the fact that Willard has the ability to communicate with the rats.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was amazing.
So, but the original, which was in the 70s, was the same deal. He's a lonely guy, overbearing mom, found out he had this ability to communicate with the rats. But then there was like a part 2, I think, that was called Ben, which continued on with Ben the Rat.
Oh, here it is, 1971. Here it
71.
is. I found it.
Willard, yeah. There was also a part 2. It might not show it, but there is a part 2. I remember it was called Ben. Yeah.
No, Willard. Oh, the
part 2 to that. Yeah.
Nagged by his mother, bullied by his boss, a young man trains mansion rats to kill for him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a different version.
It sort of is like
history repeating itself.
With the next generation. Yes.
Woo!
Yes. So yeah, that was kind of neat that this mousy kind of guy bullied all his life.
And it's a rat that showed him the way.
Yeah. And he finds out that these rats will listen to him and do what he asks.
But isn't that kind of ironic, though, that, you know, being mousy is a term of being a wimp, but yet this rat of the mouse...
but empowered him
yeah.
to take revenge and kick some ass. Yeah. So
and
those
see,
were good.
I remember as a small girl... The kind of movies that I watched that really resonated with me was Piranha, Frogs, that stupid one about the ants, the giant ants.
They.
Yeah. That creeped me out.
Now that's not on this list because that's kind of because it's unnatural.
But it was
maybe
ants. It was
maybe it will. Hold on,
ants.
hang on. This list shows me ants.
Oh, they have them 1954, and
that was
ants.
That was giant ants with radiation.
Okay, I remember No, this one wasn't black and white. The ant one that I saw was not black and white.
Empire of the Ants, 1977.
Large ants, yes.
Okay, them. Giant ants, 1954.
But look at Phase 4. Intelligent
1974.
Ants. But it says intelligent ants.
Yeah, so they're like regular size.
So look at that. In 74 they did intelligent ants, and in 77 they're like, why don't we make them bigger?
Let's make them bigger. Let's make them bigger.
Holy snaps.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm really glad to only see one cockroach movie because no.
Yeah, cockroach. Okay, no, technically there's more than one. This says Mimic is the bioengineered giant cockroaches that do human things. There was also The Nest, a cheesy fucking 80s movie with genetically gassed cockroaches that were eating people, and what they eat, they turn into. Like one scene was they ate the cat. The cat turned into a giant cat cockroach.
So it was like a hybrid.
It was a disgusting looking thing. Yeah, because it was partially eaten, but then it had the cockroach antenna and the mouthpiece. Oh yeah, it was. But I mean, that's another cockroach movie called The Nest.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to say it. Monkey Shines is the reason why I don't like monkeys. Like, I don't want to go near one. I don't want to be in the same room as one. No, they're creepy.
Yeah.
Monkeys are... I'm not a fan of monkeys.
Because they're human-like.
And they're conniving and,
Yeah, we're 3% their cousin, so...
I mean, but still, Monkey Shines was a... Number one reason why I don't like monkeys.
Yeah.
Cockroaches are the number one reason why I don't like cockroaches. And they get their own movies of being genetically altered by a stupid fucking humans.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck would you want to...
Yeah.
Sometimes I worry, like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Okay, so for amphibians, it has Creature from the Black Lagoon, the 1950s. It doesn't explain... It made it sound like he was a natural occurrence in this black water. Was this humanoid that was all scaly and had a fish head. And there was a part 2 to that, I believe, where they turned the gill man into a human. But then he didn't like being human. He missed his lake. So, but he ended up dying because he was human. He didn't have gills.
Ah.
So he drowned.
Okay.
But that was saying that was a natural occurrence in this Amazon Blackwater cove. And then spiders. Fucking spiders.
No. No.
Spiders.
Spiders are scary on their own, and spiders are the number one reason why I will never visit Australia.
So, 77 was Kingdom of the Spiders, with the tarantulas going ape shit.
I remember that one.
Yeah. And then you've got 1990 was Arachnophobia, everybody's favorite.
Everybody's seen
that's
that.
a natural one. That was a Brazilian spider that came to America, mated with a regular house spider, and turned into these deadly creatures.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And then, but then, you know, regular sized spiders are not good enough. You have to go 2002 with 8-legged freaks, where the spiders got into some toxic stuff that made them grow big.
But you know what? I cannot take that movie seriously because David Arquette.
Yeah, David Arquette. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, David Arquette.
I cannot
and then
take a movie seriously with that
They
dude.
made it even worse with 2013 with Big Ass Spider.
Because, of course, you need a spider with a big ass.
It was like 10 times the size of 8-legged freaks. So it was climbing up the Eiffel Tower. Or, no, what's the building in New York?
Which one?
The one with the tall one that King Kong always went on.
The Twin Towers?
Empire State Building.
But it was Twin Towers?
But it was just...
Empire State by...
But, you know, Big Ass Spider was all CGI. Because, you know...
I mean, honestly, if you didn't CGI that, I'd be worried.
Yeah, no, they... So,
although, have you seen the spiders in Australia?
Yeah, they don't need CGI.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I found from 1977, Day of the Animals, plural, about all of that.
Which was all of them in one movie.
Yeah, because this tells the story of a psychosis brought on by a depletion of the Earth's ozone layer. This madness affects all animals at high altitudes, and a group, of course, of hapless hikers must survive the animal onslaught and make their way to safety, even as the psychosis turns them against each other. So eventually it affects
the humans.
The human race. But yeah, this one was all about all the animals and depletion of the ozone layer, bringing about madness. Madness, I tell
you know,
you.
if the rotation of the Earth can affect the birds.
Well,
so that can make them go crazy. But that's another thing.
Animals are very sensitive to the earth because they can tell when a natural disaster is going to happen.
Yeah.
They usually act all like freaked out
because they're more they're more of the earth. They're attuned to it, so they know. Birds. When the birds are falling out of the sky, like what's that movie, The Core, where they stop. The Earth's rotation stopped because they set off a weapon to the center of the Earth, and then all the birds started falling out of the sky because the Earth wasn't rotating.
Okay, interesting.
Well, anyway, so then you got the birds. So, like 1963, Alfred Hitchcock started it off.
That's classic.
With all the birds, all types of birds were just attacking people. Okay, so it said it was unexplained bird attacks that were happening to people in Bodega Bay, California over the course of a few days. And this is a classic Hitchcock film with Rod Taylor, Tippi Hedren, Jessica Tandy, all the great
Star-studded.
Veronica Cartwright.
Wow.
Yeah. So, dig this. 2016, The Birds was deemed culturally, historically, aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress and selected for preservation in its National Film Registry.
Just because it's so iconic.
It's an iconic
and the cult
film.
following behind it and Alfred Hitchcock.
It's Hitchcock, yeah.
Plus the star-studdedness of it. I mean, of course they're
those were some big names back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And they also 70s and 80s. Those people were there too. And then 87 did Beaks. I never saw that one. Mexican horror movie.
Because they eat beaks over there or something. I don't know. Just kidding. That was racist. Sorry.
That was bad. And then there was also part 2, of course. Anyway. And then 2007 was Caw! Ravens. And we're not talking about sharks. We already did sharks for Shark Week.
Yeah, no, sharks are done. Sharks are overdone.
Okay.
So overdone they don't even taste good anymore. So, let's see. What's are some other ones?
So, here's another one that's a mutated bear. 1979, The Prophecy. Not the one with the angels. This was way before that. About...
Yeah, I think that's like when you asked me, they need to redo Prophecy. I'm like, but I like the ones with Christopher Walken.
No. Yeah, no. This movie,
1979.
This movie I approve of to get a remake because it had the story behind it was really good about it's an environmental agent, a guy from the Environmental Protection Agency with his pregnant wife going out to this area where there's a lumber company that's polluting the area, and it created this mutated bear from their toxic waste.
Oh my goodness.
So there's also a fight between there's also a bit of racism in here because it's the lumber company against the Native Americans of the area. They were treating them like shit because so
they were totally going full blown.
This was
stereotypical.
Racial. This is total racist. So it's not only that. So the Native Americans were saying the white men are fucking up the area. They're fucking up nature. Something bad's gonna happen, and they want them to leave. And then the lumber company's like, "Fuck you. We're here. We bought this area. We're gonna do our job." And then out comes this giant mutated bear that you didn't see much because, from what I'm reading, the director cut out a good chunk of the really good bits that he should have left in.
And why is that?
Because the gore factor, number one, the gore factor was, let's see. Okay, he thought these scenes were too gratuitous with the violence and gore. Was a longer close-up shot of a man's headless corpse and a shot of the Katadin, the mutated bear, graphically disemboweling another character. And then this other scene I don't mind having taken out because, so what? It was a flashback of when the married couple had sex for the first time. So that's all right. That's all right. They could have left that out. It had nothing to do with the story. But there was like several scenes. I mean, the director cut out most of the violence and gore parts, which would have added better to the story, and you would have got to see this bear. I mean, they did practical effects.
Right.
1979. But the director admitted later that he did kind of a shitty job because he was dealing with alcoholism at the time. So I say this one should be remade. Go for it.
Well, the film critic Leonard Maltin described the mutant monster as a giant salami.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it was a bear, but it was like... It looked like it was missing skin because it's supposed to be like an amalgamation of mutation of different animals and creatures. Plus, also, because of the toxic waste, the salmon were being affected. They were turning into super-sized salmon that were eating ducks.
Oh my gosh.
They were eating ducks. Like one of the shots was a duck being pulled down by a salmon.
Oh my word.
There was the raccoons were going vicious. The plants were growing on the surface, like their vines were up on the surface big enough to attack people. tadpoles were the size of bullfrogs, which, you know, if you know what a bullfrog is, it is freaking huge. So this was a total, not only was it dealing with racism, but it was also a total environmental issue movie about how toxic waste can affect the environment.
And you know what? It's interesting because according to director John Frankenheimer, during post-production, the studio demanded that the film be cut from an R rating down to PG. And Frankenheimer always felt this damaged the film, destroying its scariness that it created.
Well, plus he also cut out extra scenes because he thought they were too gratuitous, which he should have left them in. He should have left them in. And this, if it's done right, would be a good solid R. I mean, because the story behind it is, it's solid. It's a racial and environmental issue for the time, because the 70s was all about environment.
Well, because hippie.
It was the hip time of the hippies. They were talking about saving Mother Earth. And also, so were the Native Americans. They were saying that too. The earth is being affected by your sloppiness, your messy, your thoughtlessness of your surrounding area. I mean, the story, it's a good story. It could be a super scary one, especially with this mutated bear that attacks people, because it also was sort of hinted that the Native Americans sent it too.
Oh.
As a like a warning to get the white man off their land.
Right.
So, but also this also could have been set up for a sequel. It was set up to do a sequel,
right?
Because at the end you see there's another. They thought there was only one, and they also found a mutated cub.
Oh, so it had babies.
But there was also a mate that was left alive. So, it was totally set up to have a sequel. But thank God it didn't, because this director sucked.
Wow.
He sucked. But, hey, Hollywood, I agree. I approve this one to be remade. And don't CGI it. Please don't CGI it. This one needs to have the practical effects.
Yeah, nostalgia. You got to keep that in there because it's a different kind of, I feel, through the years, each decade seemed to have its own kind of way to scare you, or how to feel scared.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because this like scared. It was supposed to scare people into being more careful and to cut down as much toxic waste as possible. So it had a message besides trying to scare. I mean, the bear on a good scene, that bear was freaking scary because it was so big. Number one, it was huge. It was at least...
Well, the actor stuntman, Kevin Peter Hall,
Hall was over 7 feet tall.
He was 7'2".
He was in that?
Yeah.
That's the guy that was in The Predator.
Oh.
The first Predator movie, that was him.
He was also in Giant Egghead Alien in Without Warning from the 1980.
Yes.
The Predator in 87, The Predator 2 in 1990,
yes.
And Bigfoot in the Harry and the Hendersons in 89.
Yeah, Kevin Peter Hall. So yeah, I didn't realize he did the creature, the bear, but Kevin Peter Hall, yeah, he was over 7 feet tall,
7'2".
So that was perfect. Yeah, because this bear was huge, and it was they kind of didn't do it right. I mean, for the scare factor, because it's supposed to show mutation, and they kind of slop shit it. It kind of is a little slop shit. I mean, the movie poster is more scary than the bear was in certain parts.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But, hey, Hollywood, put this on the remake list, and don't CGI it.
Yeah, how come what's not in there is The Happening? Or was that The Wind, or was it Plants?
No, that was Plants. It should be on this list, but it's not.
Huh.
But it has
I don't
the
care
ruins.
what everybody says about M. Night Shyamalan. I mean, The Happening was... Okay, it was a Wahlberg, but... I liked the idea behind it.
Yes, the story behind it was pretty interesting.
You can't help bad acting. Well, you can with more money and bigger stars, but I mean...
Better stars.
Better stars.
Yeah.
But I really liked the concept behind the plants being like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
This is fucking bullshit. You are ruining us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I like the story behind it, but the way it came off was just bad. But it showed how much plants can affect people, because remember, they had people jumping off buildings.
Well, because they were going into this induced suicide thing,
Yeah.
just like Bird Box.
Yeah. Yeah.
That weird suicide.
Yeah.
Because it was suicide. It wasn't murder.
No, it was
all
suicide.
suicide.
Yeah.
Ha! The plants are literally saying, "Go kill yourself.
Go kill yourself.
Go kill yourself."
But then there's also the ruins in 2008 was just one area of the globe. One area, what was it? It was probably Brazil, or it's South America somewhere. It was just one Aztec ruin that had these vines that could mimic voices, sounds of every type, including cell phones.
Nice one.
Which-
I didn't
which-
see this movie.
No, I told you not to
Seems
after I watched
so
it.
cheesy.
No, it's the usual story of people were told not to go to these ruins. It's dangerous. The community was telling these American shitty college kids to not go into the jungle. Don't go to these ruins. It's bad, bad, bad. What do? They go. They go, and then they find out
These vines.
these
kill.
vines. But they were trying to get to this cell phone because they kept hearing a cell phone ring because that means they would get rescued. Well, guess what? There was no cell phone.
Oh my god! It was the vine.
It was the vines. The
Do
vines.
it for the vine.
The ultimate vine,
Oh my!
where they
gosh.
dab and jump into there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm seeing under worms. Guess what's not on there?
what's not on there?
Tremors.
Because they weren't. Well, yeah, the first one they were giant worms, but not. Yeah.
Just a quick little blurb. Did you hear they're doing a remake of Tremors?
Yes.
I think you told me.
I told you.
And Kevin Bacon was going to be
Kevin
in
Bacon's
it.
coming
yeah!
back. Coming back.
I can't.
They're
tell
having
you.
Val. His character Val is coming back to perfection.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for Tremors.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why.
So this was the weird part. Okay, so I watched. So actually, Squirm was on Comet TV a few days ago. Now this was interesting. They could mind control people.
What is a squirm?
Squirm is the worms. Earthworms.
Earthworms can control people.
They get inside you and they mind control you.
Wasn't that a Goosebumps episode
Yeah.
where this kid had a worm farm? And
yeah.
they...
No, but he was torturing the worms, so the worms got back at
Oh,
him.
but they were using mind control.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like some sort of link kind of thing of
Yeah.
mind control with worms, or actually that's the only thing they could do.
Yeah.
It'd have to be mind control.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, like,
Stupid moment.
So it's 1976 was Squirm. I mean, when you think about it, a horror movie with earthworms, what the fuck could earthworms do? They could gang up on you and get inside you and mind control you. Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed Earthworm Jim, the video game. Back in my college days, I'd just be like, oh, yeah.
And then
play
in-
Earthworm Jim.
In 59 had Attack of the Giant Leeches, which is
Okay,
giant
leeches are different.
Well, leeches are a little scarier because they have a mouth with teeth.
And they suck your blood.
And they suck
so
your
they
blood.
probably
But
sucked
if it was-
people to, like, vampires. They were vampire.
Oh, yeah,
vampire worms.
Vampire worms.
Sorry, those aren't leeches anymore, everybody. It's vampire worms. Pass
Oh.
it on.
Oh, so you forgot to mention, besides Day of the
I
Animals,
was going
Food of-
to, but we, like, kind of bounced all over the place with this one.
Food of the Gods, 1976. Mom loved this movie.
Are you kidding?
She went ape for this movie. I remember watching it many times at the drive-in.
many times at the drive-in.
Like
you
2 or
said?
3 times we went to see Food of the Gods, which was all about...
She was super religious, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so she took this as some sort of a religious sign.
for what?
Well, because, see, the premise of Food of the Gods was that this scientist was trying to create giant-sized food to wipe out hunger, world hunger. And instead, it ended up getting, the rats got into it and turned
Wait.
giant-sized.
Okay, what this is saying is when a strange edible substance appears on a remote island,
Local farmer Mr. Skinner and his wife deem it a blessing and feed it to their farm animals. Soon other wildlife, such as rodents and insects, have eaten the food, which makes anything that consume it grow in size.
Well, there was also a part
These
2 to this.
gigantic beasts started terrorizing the island, with an athlete named Morgan among those who are fighting for their lives against the gargantuan creature.
But mostly it started with the rats. Rats get into everything. So
Well, yeah.
So then the part 2 that I saw was about the scientists trying to
Oh.
wipe out world hunger.
Here it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Food of the Gods Part 2.
Yeah.
Let's see what that says.
Which was 19...
Which it says, giant rats overrun a Canadian college after a scientist
Just accelerated growth serum.
spills into the sewers.
Yeah.
1989.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was... For some reason, our mom loved this movie. We saw it... I know I saw it 2 or 3 times. But I was... 1976, I was 5 years old. I only remember parts of it.
But that's good memory for being 5 years old.
Yeah.
Schnarks.
And then when she talked about frogs,
I
1972.
remember watching that.
1972, I'm like,
Yes.
frogs. How could frogs be scary? I was only a year old when that came out.
All I really remember is that it was a Richie Rich party. And all of a sudden these frogs start bouncing in. and
Not a Richie Rich party. It was a rich family that was doing upper class U.S. Southern family who are victimized by several different animal species, including snakes, birds, and lizards as well.
Yeah, at this huge...
Yeah.
But they were having a fancy party, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden these frogs are like,
Yeah.
we're crashing this party.
Now, they weren't little frogs. I'm sure they found these...
I mean,
they're
there were
toads. They were toads.
bullfrogs.
They were huge frogs, like the hand size, like bigger than a hand size.
Yeah,
They were huge.
yeah.
And
That's all I remember of
That's
that
all
movie.
I remember. But did you ever remember at the end of the credits, like at the far end of the credits, was this little animated frog
Yes.
that was swallowing the last of somebody's hand?
Yes.
And then hopped off the screen.
Yeah. So this movie I know nothing about, but I love the title because, we all got to stick together, us black sheeps.
That's
It's
a shitty
called
movie.
Black Sheep.
It's a shitty movie.
It's a shitty movie.
Shitty movie.
Sheep.
It's zombie sheep.
Oh, shut up! From New Zealand,
Yeah.
a New Zealand farm.
Zombie sheep.
Oh my god!
Shitty movie. But the concept is pretty interesting.
Well,
because they also turn
it's
people into
genetically altered sheep that prey on humans and turn their victims into undead, woolly killers.
Yeah, so when a person gets bit by one of these black sheep, they turn into a zombie black sheep.
So does that mean that's sheer madness?
Oh,
I couldn't resist. I
oh
couldn't
my
resist.
God. Shitty movie, but if you want to have a laugh, watch it.
These woolly killers
Woolly killers.
ensues sheer madness. I don't know. I just liked it because of the title.
Yeah. Then there's dinosaurs. You got the dinosaurs. Like I said, 1925 started
That's
it with
the
the original.
original,
But then
yeah.
there's also Godzilla's on the list. But he was a radiated lizard that turned into Godzilla.
Yeah, because then we could turn around and do the Rampage movie with The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Although I grew up loving that video game.
Yeah.
But still.
That was our game.
Yeah, that was totally
That was
our
our
game.
game. And then, of course, you got to have snakes. Snakes.
Motherfucking snakes and
Snakes.
motherfucking horror movies.
So it says here that there was one in 1999 called Silent Predators. I didn't watch it. But you got snakes. What is it? Snakes on a plane. Snakes on a train. Snakes on a boat. You got snakes. You got to have the snakes.
Well,
Oh, and then, yeah, that was
a really good movie.
that was a good one.
I will have to say, though, that was a really... Because it wasn't just about snakes. It was a guy experimenting on turning humans into animals.
Yeah.
Or snakes.
Into animals, because he turned one guy into a mongoose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to kill
To kill the snake.
the snake that was another human.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Then there's slugs.
I'll tell you a funny story. I moved to Northern California and I see a slug for the first time at the age of, like, I don't know, 1920.
Yeah, we didn't have them here in
I
Arizona.
didn't know what a slug was. I don't even remember, learning about slugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a slug for the first time, and I'm like, you guys. We were hiking in Redwood Forest.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, you got to look at this snail without a shell. I never got laughed at so much in my life.
Yeah.
They totally razzed me to be this, like, dumb hick.
Yeah.
Although I was just a desert rat that had never seen or heard of.
Arizona doesn't have slugs. It's
We
too
never
dry.
did,
It's
yeah.
too dry. So in Northern California, where it's nice and wet and moist, slugs go rampant.
I just thought it was a snail without a shell.
that's
I
what
thought it was
that's
being
what
rogue.
looked like.
I thought it was going rogue.
Remember what happened when I saw it?
Yeah.
I freaked out too. I'm like, it doesn't have a shell.
Yep. And then I got
You're
to be
like, it's a slug,
it's just like, because they had banana slugs.
which means they're just big
And yellow.
and yellow. And did we talk about dogs and cats?
I mean, do we really need to? I mean
that's like the favorite, because there's a lot of pet going crazy movies.
yeah, but I mean, as far as I say, I mean a lot. You mean, I mean, we mean.
Yeah.
Mean. Okay, anyways, I mean, Jesus.
You just did it again.
With dogs and cats, there's the iconic Cujo.
Which, say what you told me before we recorded,
What did I?
that you never seen that movie.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen Cujo.
Stephen King story.
I never seen Cujo.
It's basically Stephen King story about a Saint Bernard that gets bit by a rabid bat and turns rabid.
Oh my goodness.
But it's over several days that this dog terrorizes mother and son.
See, I thought it was a Rottweiler, to tell you the truth.
No,
That-
Saint Bernard.
it really never was like, ooh, a mean dog. Watch this movie.
No. What you see is the bat bites him on the nose, and then after a few days, he turns rabid and, like, attacks his family, attacks other people, keeps this mother and son hostage in their car. They're locked in their car.
Okay, I remember that
Yeah.
scene because that was overplayed on the TV a lot when
Yeah.
it came out.
Well, because
remember
that was the
trailer.
scary part. She's trying to get out of the fucking car, and the dog wouldn't let her. I mean,
But it wasn't he like almost like breaking glass and slobber all over the place and
Because
violently barking?
he's
and-
like 150-pound Saint Bernard. Yeah.
Well, there's another dog movie I wasn't aware of, and that's The Breed, which was a pack of ravenous dogs killing people.
Feral, mutated dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
killing people.
Killing people.
I
Yeah.
mean, Jesus Christ. Honestly. Dogs. Cats, same thing. They can kill you the same. Although Church is not on here. That was one freaky cat. Like, out of all the cat movies that I remember, Church was, like, terrifying.
But his problem was he was
dead.
resurrected from a cursed burial ground. So, yeah. So that makes him part demonic.
Yeah, but as far as any cat movies, I think that's the most scariest.
That's the scariest, was Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, dogs and cats, what do? They bark, they meow, they scratch, they bite. Cats, I don't know.
Cats are a little
eat
more
you
devious.
when you're dead.
The cats are a little more devious. They
Yeah,
try to
but I
trip you
mean-
down the stairs. They they do the jump scares. They know they can jump scare, make you jump
Yeah.
and land on something sharp.
Yeah, they are a bit mischievous. They don't need a
They're devious.
Devious. They don't need a horror film because I watch a lot of videos where cats attack kids just because you can see at the point where the cat's like,
I'm done with this. I'm
stop
done.
touching me.
I'm done.
Or like when little kids are like running in the lawn and all of a sudden a cat comes out of a bush and it's like, you're down.
Yeah.
You're down, bitch. Stay down.
And then it goes into
Oh.
sea creatures, which are the octopuses.
Was it Leviathan?
Leviathan?
I mean,
Well, that's not natural horror. That was genetically altered.
yeah, but a lot of other of these are genetically modified.
Yeah. Which,
Well, okay,
So,
here's the question. Why the fuck would we be genetically modifying animals to be bigger and deadlier? And are we going to send these, are we going to put them in, like, military uniforms and be like, okay.
No, it was so...
Like, what is the purpose?
No, normally it's to test a bioweapon to infect soldiers to put them into war.
I don't buy
So
it.
it was partly... Usually it starts off that they're test animals that get this serum that makes them all this batshit fucked up, and they get loose. But it was always meant to be given to soldiers for war.
Well, I don't buy it. I just think the human race is pretty sick and stupid.
Or there's the other part. Okay, Piranha. The original Piranha from 77 or 78. He was creating the Piranha like rats in a maze. They were supposed to be like bioweapons for war. They were going to put the Piranha in water, the third world countries' water system to destroy, like, in their rivers, in their lakes.
Why are we putting these in third world countries?
Well, it was for whatever war they go into in whatever country.
Oh, so
they would
it's
put
not
these
necessarily third world.
not third world, but they would put
opponent country.
Yes, where
like Russia or Iraq.
Yeah, something like that. He was like breeding these things and creating these things to be intelligent, because they have to go through the sewer systems. They're trying to kill people in the water. So, yeah. So, yeah. Are we done?
Yeah.
Are we done? So yeah.
Animals in horror.
Natural. So, what I love about horror movies, the main thing I love about horror movies is their people's fears. So we're always it shows what they were afraid of at the time period. So the 70s was all about, they were scared that nature was going to kick their ass. So I mean,
well,
yeah,
I could see how that could be a thing.
Yeah, all this started off, like, it really blew up in the 70s. All through the 70s, like we found, started in 1971, all the way up to the 80s. Through the 80s and 90s, yeah.
Well, I guess, just in case they were right all those years ago, give your animals extra treats, extra loves, don't torture, don't kick, don't hit, don't punch.
And stop experimenting on them.
Stop genetically modifying.
This May, a film directed by Michael Bay. For New Pet Cemetery, with shitty killers known as pets. Also including Deadpool.
chest is getting tight. Count to 10 before you die, die, die. As the monsters come out at night, you know that something's just alright. As your chest is getting tight, count to 10 before you die. As the monsters come out at night, you know that something's just alright. As your chest is getting tight, count to 10 before you die. As the monsters come out at night, know that something's just alright. As your chest is getting tight, count to 10 before you die. As the monsters come out at night, know that something's just alright. As your chest is getting tight, count to 10 before you die.
They're not like the Loch Ness Monster, Dean. Dragons aren't real.
You look afraid. I would be afraid. For what? This is a dream. I wouldn't want to wake up from this dream, but you must. Welcome to EMZT Radio Minis.
Hello, I'm your host, BoomDoom. We are going to be talking about SCP-008. I'm here with my friend and loyal partner, Aunt Bane, who's also my aunt. I am very sick right now. Let's get into this.
So, what made you decide to choose to talk about SCP-008?
I ran out of ideas. I just thought of something. I'm like, oh, zombies. And zombies.
So, what is SCP-008?
It's virus infection thing. And it's mostly a virus. It's heavy, I believe, heavy containment, and it's a gas that when it's released, what will happen in the facility is what they do is they open up this gas container, and in the process, you start to cough, and you sit on the ground for about 5 hours. Then in about 6 hours later, after a day's passed, you start vomiting up blood, and this other class, CD, Class D, with an MTF, or Nine-Tailed Fox Guard, will help them go through with this process, in case anything goes wrong. And they will have an apple, or meat. And mostly they go for the apple, but they vomit and go for the meat. So what I've gotten from that experience of playing a little SCP simulator is that the virus makes you think food that you used to eat is absolutely disgusting, but the food it wants is good.
Meat and blood.
Yeah. And then after about 48 hours in, you become completely infected, you're malnourished, you're really bony, also your skin decays at a very fast rate, and then that's when you start hearing voices of SCP-008 guiding you through what you should do.
Alright, so
And that's usually in a breach.
SCP-008 is a prion, which I was looking up is a transmittable spongiform encephalopath.
Yeah, doesn't it go in your brain?
Yes, encephalo
Yeah,
means
and
brain.
it's harder to cure, find out what causes it.
So it's part of a neurodegenerative disorder. It's SCP-008 is in a canister. It's a gas.
Yeah,
It's called the zombie plague.
like Doctor. Oh,
So
another story that we should talk about later. It's about the Doctor, and it's 008.
Okay, so it says that traits of 008 include 100% infectiousness, 100% lethality, transmission through exposed mucous membranes and all bodily fluids, not airborne or waterborne. It is transmitted through body fluids. You can get sneezed on. It goes through your mucous membrane, which is like through your nose and stuff. Well, it's a gas, so you inhale the gas, so it gets in you. So there is a cure.
Yeah, but it's hard to do because mostly
It's in the SCP facility.
Yeah, it's usually in like the heavy medicine areas where you can't never get into.
What is
Oh
it?
yeah, it's SCP-500.
SCP-500
Cures anything.
is the cure that cures all diseases.
Like, okay, hold
and
on.
it's what it is. It's a pill.
Yeah, and if you ever get the plague book, the book of diseases actually, it could cure any disease, and you can only have it once, I believe.
Yes. So the cure is in like a bottle. It has only 47 pills, and they are in an area that's far away from where SCP-008 is.
Yep.
So if you want the cure, you have to find this, but you might not have much time
Yeah,
otherwise.
you'll need it. You'll need to get it first, then go through.
Yeah, but whoever wants to open that canister is stupid in my book,
Yeah, I don't
because
know. Well, it could be part of a quest to do, because
I wouldn't open the damn canister. It's got biohazard on it, I think. No, wait, I don't think it had biohazard on it. I think I was reading that it doesn't have like a warning label on it. But you have to be wearing a hazmat suit.
that's only for the MTF or Nine-Tailed Fox.
Yeah.
CDs, Class Ds, go in fully unprepared.
But it's saying that SCP-500 or 500
500.
will cure you even if you're at like the most advanced stage of this. There's no point of no return that you can't be cured. But who would want to wait that long? I wouldn't, because if it's more than a few hours, you just are screwed. You won't remember that you want to not be sick.
Yeah, because SCP-008 will be telling you, why are you doing this? This is the dumbest thing ever, and I will promise you an ultimate life where you can never die.
Yeah, because technically you won't die, but you're decaying because your flesh is coming
I think of zombies,
apart.
they're still alive, but the virus that's in you is telling you, you're perfectly fine. You're going to be okay. Just eat these people.
Okay, according to this, it says the body's metabolism may decrease to extremely low levels, allowing subjects to survive for over 10 years without nutrition. They
Yep.
can go 10 years
Yeah.
without eating
That's the
if
cool
they're
thing.
dormant
Yeah, because
in a room
use,
somewhere.
I believe they use their own skin, or they just can't starve.
Well, it's just what the metabolism's so low, they don't need to
Yeah.
eat. It means that they
don't need a lot of
they're
nutrition.
They're not active.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the subject can adapt to its damaged nervous system, but is limited to basic physical activities, including standing up, balancing on two legs, walking, biting, grabbing, and crawling. They will energetically move towards sights, sounds, and smells it associates with living humans and will attempt to ingest them if physical contact is made. Neutralizing fully infected subjects requires significant cranial trauma. Oh, neutralizing means killing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you would have to totally bust that head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not just one click where you start seeing them bleed. You need to, like, destroy.
Their head needs to be come off, and it needs to be turned into pulp.
There's actually,
Pulp on the floor.
their head doesn't have to come off because they could still live with it.
Not if it's totally smashed to pulp.
Not until it's, yeah.
If it's pulp on the floor, they're done. Yeah, this is an interesting little thing. Whoever thought of this is just the weirdest person ever. Oh, it says, or SCP and its side effects can be cured completely by consuming a SCP-500 pill or using SCP-427.
I don't remember what 427
But
is.
427, I was reading, you can only have on you for a limited amount of time. Otherwise, it'll kill you.
What was 427?
I think...
I don't remember what it looks like. Or...
Hang on, I think it's a necklace. It's a necklace.
Oh!
It's a Lovecraftian locket.
I think that was from, there's this guy that calls him God in the facility, and he came in with that, and he told anyone that, like... But yeah, it wears off, too.
Let's see.
I think. I don't remember.
So, SCP-427 is a small, spherical, ornately carved locket made of polished silver material. It was created after placing a pill of SCP-500 in the input booth of SCP-914 and using the fine setting. It displays no unusual activity when closed. When SCP-427 is opened and exposed to biological tissue, it rapidly regenerates cellular damage and somehow is able to purge invading compounds or infections. So this is the other one, the other cure. However, long-term exposure produces a significant health hazard. As the locket heals damage, it optimizes the body's natural systems. People exposed to the device for over an hour begin mutating into shapeless masses of tissue referred to as SCP-427-1. So you can only have it on for...
Say 45 minutes.
No, less than that.
Oh.
It needs to be under 5 minutes.
Ooh.
Because 7 minutes makes them instantly SCP-427-1. Because, 7 minutes just does it. It's only like it's like a short burst. It's like you open it. I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes you can have it on, then you close it, take it off. You got to do that.
I think the SCP it turns you into is called the skin that hates, where you just... And it's a very mild disease. It can survive cold weather, hot weather, air. It's not airborne, but it can survive on land.
Okay, it doesn't give me a link to click on to see what it is. But for if you have the locket on longer than 7 minutes, you start to mutate. And then it kills you. So, 2 cures for SCP-008. Don't open the container, you dum-dums. That's all I can say. Don't open the container.
Unless it's a main quest you have to do to kill something, do something, or get some...
Yeah, but you put the hazmat suit on, and you have that...
yeah, you could also put the hazmat suit on.
But you also need to have SCP-500 with you so you can pop a pill.
Pill popping sis freaks.
What else do you want to say about this?
Hold on, I want to add something that I'm mad about. This is a little rampage I'm on. I now need to get a PS4 because as freaking Minecraft and PS3 isn't working anymore and is not doing its 1.14 update. I still play that. I know I should get help. Well, bye-bye.
When I was going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish he'd go away.
And remember, creeps, here at EMZT Radio, we've got everything horror from entertainment to the human race.
You sickos.
This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.